So my goal right now is to basically check the crankshaft runout at the back of the crank. Also, what you're gonna do is check the runout at the front of the crank. Make sure the crank isn't bent or anything from the flywheel breaking away and going about the business. So Barry G at Matt Start, he recommended checking the runout at the back, at the front. What you can also do is check the runout on the back end where the flywheel goes. So it would not, even if your main journal is still good, the back could be slightly warped and that would still cause vibrations or wobbles at the back where you bought on the new flywheel. So you can also check there. So basically I got the gauge setup right now is zeroed. Magnetic base on. Each small slash on the dial gauge here is 0.01 of a millimeter. The 10 that is here is 0.1 of a millimeter. So basically, if you go right around complete from 0 to 0, that is actually 1 millimeter. So if you was to bring it down to 50, that would be 0.5 of a millimeter. When you come right back up to 0, then and you was to go maybe halfway, that'd be 0.05 of a millimeter. So after that is just knowing now exactly the runout that you're looking for. So we're looking at clearance of maybe maximum of 0.015 of an inch, which is 0.381 millimeters. So anything over 0.3 of a millimeter is basically crankshaft straightening or replacement, etc. So we get to doing some checks and see what sort of runout we have.
De souvenirs lointains, beauté de paysage enflamme mon destin. Les heures d'autrefois déclinaient les saisons, aux innombrables voix ont écrit ma chanson.
So the engine back up, sump back on. It's only to put on the timing belt, but what I'm going to do, rather than put on the timing belt right now, most likely can just put on the crank gear and whatever else. This bracket, I'm going to switch it up from the 6-bolt back to the 7-bolt bracket, because since I'm doing over the complete front of the car, I decide that I'm not going to use back this bracket, this L-shaped bracket anymore. I'll be able to give me a little bit more space and room and flexibility when it comes to working on certain parts, I guess, of the engine. So your gearbox just rests on, and what we're going to do is just lift it up and rest it inside the engine bay. What you're going to do is try to get, well, you're going to try to put on the gearbox mount. That's the main one that can line up everything else. And then there's a cross member at the bottom that goes to the bottom of the chassis, the subframe. So once you can get on that cross member and line up, the front mount here now should automatically just come into position. So we just have to fabricate the mount for here. Everything else around the back clear. Gearbox clear, the subframe, everything got good clearance. So this position here could work. So what we'll do is start fabricating the brackets then. I have to weld to the chassis, because I want to make sure the engine in the right position first before I actually start to do the tubes up front. So we got an idea where everything else was supposed to be originally laid out. So this cross member that I had made that runs on the car, this would put me, basically give me a good perspective, or give me a good idea of where the original cross member originally was. So basically the front of the car would come no further than here when it comes to the intercooler, and the cooler would come right in front of this. So this is right where the front frame of the car that I cut off originally was, where the two bolts went through these holes. So basically I would know not to come anywhere further than there. What they're actually thinking of doing now is this same subframe, rather than, but this here is so soft that it could flex easily. So what I'm thinking of doing is plating it, but when I'm finished, then the bracket I put on front, the pipe that comes off front, I'm going to plate around it with maybe some 3-4mm steel plate and use it to bolt on over here then to give this some rigidity. So you got that side line up. I'll try to replicate it on this side now. Alright, so we got a basic idea. This part here bend a little too high up. This with the tip bending a little further back. You can correct it, but you bend a little further down. And that would be basically mirrored to the other side. So you're gonna get the material. Got the material bent to suit. Just to get the plate it and cut these into suit to line up the angle, and I think this should be able to work on line back at everything with the front. So I finished made the plates for the chassis rails to block them off, the enclosure to reinforce them. So I just got to grind them down, clean them up, and polish them up basically to make the brackets now for the front beam. But what I want to do first is make the brackets for this front mount here. I'm going to buy some 6mm steel plate. And what I'm going to do is do a template first. Most of them do a template. Somehow, let me see. Let me see how I can do it. Can't remember how I was going to do it now. Can't remember how I was going to do it, but yeah. So these are two complete brackets now. What I will do, bolt them on, put the bolt through them, tighten them up. I can clean off the chassis then so that I can get them a good little tack on, hold them in position. I should have grained on this piece here that I cut off on where the original mount stand was, but I will go lift back with the engine to clean it there properly. So what we're going to do is try to get it in position and get it tacked in place then, so that I could clean up all that after I lift back with the engine. Weld it up in place as strong as I could get it for now till I lift out the engine. Put some weight on it now and see if it break off or not. This is as far as I've gotten now with the front bar. So basically it's tack welded in place on the two brackets. Two big long bolt and nuts going right through the chassis. Chassis reinforced on the insides as to not allow the chassis to crush when the bolts tighten down. And I will just clean up a lot of the welding and go over it when I finish. It's just to get a rough tack up, make sure everything in place nice and firm. So as it is, I've just bolted on, tacked up, but I can literally lift the car off the hoist and no flexing, no bending, anything. So what I'm doing now is making the two fender steers now, which will come basically something like that. So this is the bracket now that I am making to go onto the fender. See if we get it right. So this part will go onto the fender, and what we'll do is duplicate this one now to bolt on, to weld on to the other side. So basically This gonna go onto the fender, then another one. These will go onto the pipe, and the pipe will bolt on to the fender part. So basically, the whole complete front will be able to disassemble and bolt and pull off. Now the last piece of this puzzle for now is this piece here to connect the side of the fender to the shock tower. Help reinforce the shock tower a little bit more. So what we're gonna do is put this on there, and then you have this plate now. Then go there, and it's gonna bore a hole there and just go straight through to the back of the shock tower with a stud that coming out. And bolt and nut it on to the shock tower. Right, so that's it for me for the night. What I will do is unbolt all of them and route through them properly, reinforce them, and I may add some more joints somewhere else.